How to play Saturday Wars. Saturday Wars collectible card game is a fast-paced game where players compete to claim 3 chapters to win. Each game is played in chapters with prologue, actions, and epilogue phases. Players play cards, activate abilities, and manage resources using the Purge to Play mechanic, ensuring every card is usable. Be careful though, if your deck runs out, your protagonists die, then you lose! The first person to claim 3 chapter cards wins. Setup. In Saturday Wars, each player brings 2 decks. The story deck, which includes 5 unique chapter cards players compete to claim. The Shonen deck, which is a 45 card deck with characters, upgrades, plot twists, and story arcs allowing up to 3 copies of any card. At the start, players select 4 purge costs worth of character cards as their protagonists, placed in the protagonist row without paying their purge cost. No additional characters can be added unless specified by a card ability. Each player shuffles their Shonen deck and draws 5 cards. Players may mulligan by placing any number of cards on the bottom of their deck, drawing back up to 5, then placing 2 cards from the top into their purged pile without activating any purge abilities. To determine the starting player, players secretly bid progress markers, purging cards equal to their bid. The highest bidder goes first, placing a chapter card from their story deck into the story row. If bids tie, both players purge cards equal to their bid, and then they bid again. If they tie a second time, purge the cards, then each player flips the top card of their deck, and the highest purge cost goes first. The cards. You must include 45 cards in your Shonen deck. This is made up of 4 types of cards: characters, plot twists, story arcs, and upgrades. Characters. Character cards drive your story as either protagonists or allies. Protagonists start the game with up to 4 purge cost worth of characters in your protagonist row. They remain in play throughout the game, and losing all protagonists results in an automatic loss. Oh. Allies are other characters in your deck that support protagonists, but are purged at the end of each chapter. Goodbye. Unique characters, marked by this symbol, can only have 1 copy in play per player. Variants of the same character are considered as the same unique character. Upgrades. Upgrades are items or abilities attached to protagonists or allies, boosting or altering progress and providing additional effects. They remain attached to the character for the game's duration. If the character is removed, the upgrade is also removed. Oh. Purged upgrades do not return if the character is revived. Plot twists. Plot twists introduce special events into your story. They have animate, enduring, and purge abilities. Animate is a one-time effect that triggers when played, then goes into the purge pile. Purge goes straight to the purge pile, triggering its effect. Enduring stays in play for the chapter unless removed by another card. Plot twists are typically played as actions, but those with the quick keyword can be played anytime by paying the purge cost. Story arcs. Story arcs represent an ongoing narrative in your game, providing abilities that affect gameplay during multiple chapters. They remain in play and can trigger during the prologue, epilogue, or as an enduring effect. After each chapter, a marker is placed on the story arc. Once it reaches its arc limit, the card is purged and its effects end. Goodbye. Chapter cards. Each player builds a story deck with 5 chapter cards representing key milestones in the story. You'll use characters, upgrades, plot twists, and story arcs to shape the outcome while competing against your rival Gwaelin. Each chapter card has a prologue, epilogue, or narrative ability, with prologue and epilogue abilities resolving during their phases, and narrative abilities active throughout the chapter. Playing the game. A game of Saturday Wars is played in chapters, each with 3 phases: prologue, actions with 4 per player, and epilogue. If no winner is determined, the next chapter begins with its prologue. Prologue. At the start of each chapter, players follow these steps in order: ready exhausted cards, draw or purge until 5 cards are in hand, and apply prologue abilities. Cards enter play ready and may become exhausted through actions or abilities. Exhausted cards turn sideways and are purged if exhausted again. Cards typically ready only during the prologue unless specified. Purging, a core mechanic, represents resource depletion and triggers purge abilities, maximizing resource use. Players may also voluntarily purge a card to activate its purge ability, paying any costs. Get out of here. Action phase. Each chapter, players alternate turns, taking 4 actions each. The possible actions are draw a card, play a card, retrieve a card,
Place a progress marker on the chapter card, or use an action or purge ability from a card in the active row.
Playing a card.
To play a card, pay its purge cost by purging cards from your shonen deck. Resolve purge abilities of any purged cards before continuing. Resolve any animate abilities first. Place the card in the correct play area, the active row where story arcs and plot twists with enduring abilities go. Characters, either protagonists or allies with upgrades attached to either one, and the purge pile with plot twists with animate or purge abilities.
Retrieving cards.
Use an action or a card ability to retrieve the top card from your purge pile, placing it at the bottom of your shonen deck unless stated otherwise.
Placing a progress marker.
Place a progress marker on the current chapter by using an action or resolving a card ability.
Using printed abilities.
With action abilities, you spend an action and pay any costs, for example, exhaust or purge cards. For purge abilities, place the card in the purge pile to activate its ability, then do what it says. Quick abilities trigger at any time, not requiring an action.
Epilogue. Trigger epilogue abilities.
Starting with the first player, resolve epilogue abilities in turn order.
Claim the chapter.
The player with the most markers on the chapter, plus progress values from their cards in play, claims the chapter. Certain cards' abilities may alter this process. Place the claim chapter in the chapter's 1 pile.
You're on your way to victory.
If no player wins the game by claiming the chapter, then purge cards by removing all allies and enduring plot twist cards unless stated otherwise. Update story arcs by adding a progress marker to any remaining story arc cards, or purge the ones that hit their arc limit. Then prepare for the next chapter. If you didn't claim the chapter, play a new chapter card from your story deck, unless one is already in play. Discard any unwanted cards by purging cards from your hand. Note that this will not trigger purge abilities. Then move to the prologue phase of the next chapter.
Ending the game. Victory by chapters.
The first player with 3 chapter cards in their chapter's 1 pile at the end of the epilogue phase wins.
Loss by deck.
If a player's shonen deck is empty and they cannot draw or purge a card, they lose.
Oh.
And the opponent wins.
Yay! Loss by protagonists.
If a player has no protagonists in their protagonist row, they lose.
Oh.
And the opponent wins.
Yay! The end.
Thank you for watching. If you found this tutorial helpful, please like and subscribe below. Also, let us know what you thought in the comments, and if you have any suggestions for future tutorials, put them there too. If you like looking at pictures, follow Board Game Tutorials on TikTok and Instagram. And finally, sign up for our newsletter at boardgametutorials.com.
Bye!